Episode 3 of Blue Planet is called Open Ocean. So this episode opens up with marlin. So we established that marlin are pretty efficient predators. We see them hunting baitfish. I can't remember which ones. I think it's sardines, but there's that many in this episode. It could be any. And basically, yeah, we just see a bait bill sequence. We saw that obviously in the first episode with the sardine run. It's not better than that, but it's still fine. I mean, marlin, again, we don't see them too often. I think we did see them again in Planet Earth. And I think that was better, but again, that was also filmed in HD and this wasn't, so to be fair, that probably has the edge. But it was still fine. It was a good way opening the episode. We do see other predators as well. We see tuna, the sei whale. Again, it just kind of feels a bit like a lesser version of what we got in the first episode with the sardine run. But it's still alright, it's an alright way to open the episode. And then we see manta rays. So again, we do kind of focus on a lot of the predators in this episode. It's very predator heavy. The predators that just wander through the ocean. But we see manta rays and they basically find all these fish that are spawning and they basically just eat all the eggs and sperm. And it's fine. Again, manta rays, also really cool to see. They're obviously, everyone likes them, I think. We do spend quite a bit of time talking about tuna. So we kind of look at the life cycle of tuna in a weird way. I don't know how deliberate it is, but we start talking about their hatchlings when they're part of the plankton, then they're fry, then they're a bit bigger, and then we see them when they're adults and they're involved in some of the bait bowl sequences that we see later on in the episode. I don't think it's a deliberate narrative device, to be honest. I think they maybe just pop up that often. But if it was a deliberate choice, then, it's pretty good. So, yeah, I like that. And then we do talk about the plankton. So the plankton are obviously quite a big part of the ocean. They are the foundations of all the food webs. And we see quite a few things eat them. Storm petrels are one of the more memorable ones because we just see them kind of almost dancing on the surface of the water when they're kind of dabbling at them. It looks like they're just dancing, but no, this is how they hunt. And then we see comb jellies. So comb jellies come out at night. We saw it in Planet Earth 3 with the sea angel, how kind of scary these things can be in a weird way. And here, again, similar kind of stuff. They look weird. You can tell that, if you were plankton, it would be pretty scary to come across one of these things. If plankton are capable of fear and thought, I don't really know. And we spend quite a bit of time talking about the ocean currents, how that impacts things. I don't think it's as effective as what we get in Blue Planet 2, but it's still alright. And we see how sardines basically congregate together when the currents meet. And I'm glad we didn't get another sardine run. To be honest, I was fully expecting us to get the sardine run again. We don't, which is good. We just kind of talk about the sardines. And to be fair, if we're talking about the way the ocean currents meet through an animal, then the sardines are a pretty good one to talk about, because hence why we have the sardine run. It's because of the mixing of the ocean currents, so fair play there. And then we see Pacific spotted dolphins. They're just swimming about, looking for food, and they find it. So again, we get the second bait bowl sequence of the episode. And again, it's not as good as what we got in the first episode. It's still alright. Sailfish kind of take over in this sequence, weirdly. The Pacific spotted dolphins are what start it off. Then the sailfish come in and we see them hunting for fish. But still another bait ball sequence. By this point, it's the third one in the series. You do kind of feel like you've seen it before at this point. And the sailfish they look pretty similar to the marlin, so you kind of feel like you've seen it in this episode already. But it's still alright. Again, is it maybe a bit bait ball heavy? Yes. I will continue to talk about that as the video goes on. And then we see some of the other predators. We see blue sharks, tuna, things that just wander around the ocean looking for food. The best example of the ocean wanderers for me was the weird crab they don't even name. It's just kind of thrashing around in the water, scaring off the birds. You see this booby that's looking down at it, just clearly doesn't really know what to make of it. And they play this kind of really cheesy Japanese music over it. Quite funny. It's very effective, to be fair. It's a funny sequence. And to be honest, it stands out to me as one of the high points of the episode. And then we look at flotsam. So when things land in the ocean and they float about, they become a refuge for a lot of fish, specifically young fish, and other predators target them. And it's really interesting. We see a lot of man-made stuff, which kind of highlights the difference between then and now. That obviously at the time we didn't really think much about dumping plastic in the ocean. Now, obviously, that's a very hot topic, especially since Blue Planet 2. But the best part of that was when we see sunfish. So they're basically there to get cleaned. But sometimes the cleaning fish can't get everywhere, so they actually signal gulls to come and peck parasites off them. That was weird. I completely forgot about that sequence. That was such a strange sequence. Again, it was really weird watching the communication between the sunfish and the gull. There's clearly an understanding there. Again, I feel like a lot of things in this episode I've seen before, a lot of the time in the same episode, but that was something I feel like I had never seen before or since. Really interesting stuff. Then we see basically volcanic islands, and obviously with the heat, that becomes a refuge for a lot of reef fish. Again, we've already seen that in Blue Planet, and in the last episode of Planet Earth, I talked about that, so I don't really want to talk about it too much here, because I feel like I'm just repeating myself. And then we see another bait ball, the third one, This time it's anchovies being attacked by jacks and tuna. It is the same thing we've seen already though. Very bait ball heavy this episode. Does it need to be this heavy with bait balls? Probably not. I realise it's a behaviour that happens a lot in the ocean and a lot of different predators do it. However, when you've seen it twice already, you don't feel like you need to see it again, and that's exactly how I felt with this bit. And then we get the spinner dolphins. So spinner dolphins are always cool. When I saw the spinner dolphins, I did think, we're not getting a fourth one, are we? Surely not. We don't. We just see them spinning and hunting for food. It's kind of fine. We don't dwell too much, but it's cool to see them again. Spinner dolphins are always nice to see. They generally just spin around and look for food. So in these programs, so I think that was fine. But we see common dolphins as well. They're also looking for food again. Another time I thought, we're not getting another one, surely. Again, it's fine. The pilot whales we see, they're quite cool. We don't see pilot whales very often. We saw them in Blue Planet too, in a quite harrowing sequence. And then we go back to the common dolphins, and sure enough, they're at the Azores and they find more fish. I think it's mackerel again. Mackerel seem to get, pretty targeted in this episode. Bit unfair. And we see them again, rounding them up into a bait ball, and then we see Corey Shearwater's going for them. So, obviously, 4 bait balls in the one episode is too much. There's just too many, I'm sorry. But I will say, this is the best one of the episode by a mile. The common dolphins are great. However, it's the Corey Shearwaters that are great. They're just, on the surface, try to catch the fish. That's great. But they actually swim down to get them. And there's so many of them, this is near a big colony, that they're actually able to drive away the dolphins. And then the tuna come in. And that's kind of the point where I like they talk about the tuna as being fry and everything. And as they get older, it kind of feels like the culmination of that. If it was deliberate or not, I don't know. But the shearwaters are able to drive them away as well. And as long as there's fish or predators in the water, the fish are still at the surface, so the shearwaters are able to swim down and get them. And even when the predators leave and the mackerel go to deeper waters, the shearwaters still go after them. They're swimming down. The shots of that are great. And actually, to be fair to the bait ball sequences, the music used throughout those sequences is great throughout the episode, so I will say that. But yeah, that was a great sequence, and it is how the episode ends. Again, that's really, really good, actually. Considering how much I moaned about bait balls in this episode, this is the one that was great. To be honest, I reckon we could have kept the first one and this one and not had the second two, and I probably would have enjoyed this even more. I still really liked it, but it was just because I'd seen too many bait balls already in the one episode. It's still it's a bit much, but no, I really like that part of the episode, and I'm glad they ended on that. And then the making of is just them looking for things in the ocean. It's mainly about the marlin and the sea whale at the start, and it's fine. Again, it's cool. Again, you do get a sense how boring it is for them on the ocean. Like, they're really just looking for stuff, and how difficult to film the open ocean actually is. I mean, it's a massive, massive place, and there's not that much in it for the surface area. Overall, this episode is all right. I think there are far too many bait ball sequences in the episode, but that being said, the highlight of the episode for me is a bait ball sequence. The final one is the best part. I also really like the sunfish and the crab. They were great as well. But yeah, I feel like I've seen better open ocean episodes, to be honest. I preferred Ocean Deep, and I think I preferred the first episode, to be honest. Again, I liked it. There were some great sequences in it. I think there were more great sequences in this one than there was the last episode, but still, too many bait balls doesn't quite spoil the broth, but it definitely makes you feel like you've seen a lot of stuff before, which you have. So what were your thoughts? Did you like this episode? What were your highlights? Did you like all the bait balls? Maybe you just love bait balls. If you like bait balls, by the way, this is the episode for you. I can't think of an episode you'll like more than this one in any of these series. So enjoy. I'll be doing the Frozen Seas episode next week, so look forward to that. And yeah, feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe, or don't, it's fine. If you do like bait balls and you've heard me moan about this, you're probably not going to subscribe, so fair enough. And yeah, I'll be doing the next one next week, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.